Always a panicky moment, and I don't think we're going live, but we are. Good afternoon. Welcome to another Let's Talk About Networking. Good afternoon. Hopefully it's nice and sunny where you are. It's absolutely bucketing it down here in the deepest part of the Northwest. Today I welcome a fantastic guest, a published author, a fantastic entrepreneur in Adam. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Liam, good afternoon. Thank you very much for having me.
Whereabouts in the world are you, Adam?
Not far from you, except it's not raining. I'm in a place called Mosley, 12 miles east of Manchester.
Yeah, what a fine part of the world. Are you originally hail from that area?
Yeah, born and bred in Oldham for my sins, and never quite moved away. So here I am, sat at the foothills of the Pennines, looking through the mist and the rain at the hills outside.
Do you take advantage of them hills then? Is it because you've been born and bred around there? Do you take them for granted?
I think in many ways, just this is why I haven't moved, because I've travelled the UK, travelled globally, and just love where I live. And in lockdown life, decided it was a good idea to get a puppy. So the puppy is now making sure I do 20,000 steps a day. So do I take advantage of the hills? I don't have a choice now, Liam. I'm there every day, come wind, come rain, come shine.
Well, let's get right into the mix of it, because I know that there are some guests that I have on here, and I think, they're fantastic people, and 20, 25 minutes is, we can fit quite a lot into that. But, reading your background, knowing a little bit about you, I almost know now that 20, 25 minutes is not going to be enough time. So we're going to dive straight in. So please take us right back. Well, I always start with the history, because I want our viewers to know how you've got to this stage in your business career. So take us right back. You left school, college, you went to university, whatever it may be. How have you got here today?
Yeah, I went to Huddersfield Polytechnic when they existed and did a degree in business studies. In fact, my final year thesis was what makes a small business successful. What a 22-year-old knows about a small business being successful, you can write on the back of a postage stamp, but I managed to put it out to 10,000 words. I then went into the rag trade, making clothes for Marks and Spencer's. I just fell into that career more than anything. And that was interesting, to say the least, working in an environment of piecework. And if people don't know what piecework was, they should look it up. Because when you've got 120 women working in a factory that they earn what they sew, it can be quite a challenge. But I cut my teeth and really found the passion out for numbers and planning within that. Fast forward to 2002 and the third redundancy in about 14 years. I'd always decided I wanted to set up my own business. And I did. Cleaning driveways, not very glamorous, but it was actually a licensed opportunity that turned into a franchise. And that really started me on my business path in 2002, becoming a franchisee and then a franchisor. And I've worked in franchising or been associated with that since 2002. I've worked internationally, worked with global companies, worked across the UK. And I must have worked with around 300 to 400 small business owners, which are what franchisees are. And that's given me a real passion for working with new small businesses and helping them build the business that they want. In terms of BNI, I actually first came across BNI in 2002. So that's when slips was still in fashion and paper slips were passed around, and there was no such thing as BNI apps or anything like that. It wasn't for me at the time because I didn't really understand it and the benefit to me, but I did see a benefit for B2B businesses and how it would work. So in my franchising career, which was a lot about business development support for franchisees, I took a lot of franchisees to BNI chapters and visited them up and down the country. So I've been to BNI chapters in Aberdeen, in Plymouth, and all points in between, introducing franchisees to the concept of BNI and business networking.
Brilliant.
So fast forward to 2017, and I actually left and set up on my own, set up my company Trinity, with the aim of supporting small businesses, but startups in particular. Because if you look at the statistics of startups, well, small businesses make 5.9 million small businesses in the UK. 99.9% of all businesses are small, 50% of GDP. However, 60 to 70% will not go beyond year 3, which is, and there's about 500,000 set up every year. So around 300,000 people will have to close their businesses each year, which is a staggering statistic because nobody sets up a business to fail.
No.
And that is a real driver because there are so many business coaches out there, so many great people wanting to help SMEs, but what's going wrong in the statistics? Now, working in franchising, 80% of franchises are successful by year 5. Which is complete, and it's about the support. And when you're a small business owner setting up a business, you don't know what you don't know, is what I come up with. So where's the help and where's the support to plug that gap if you're not used to the business environment? So that's where I am I have clients at the moment, but it's really working on a project to outreach to get as many of those 400,000 people aware that they have a 60% chance of failure if they don't seek support. If they do seek support, they've got a much better chance of success. So that's sort of my passion of where I am at the moment. It's trying to help small businesses be successful, to be in business after 3 years, to build that business that they want. So that's the history, Liam.
Love it. And so the question, an extension to that is, where does that passion come from? And this is a friendly challenge in that you're bright, you're switched on, and you don't need me blowing smoke up you, but you know your stuff. But that passion, where does that come from in saying, well, I want to help small businesses? Because you could have helped people by I don't know, being a doctor or being in the bank and helping them get a mortgage or whatever it may be. So where does that passion come from in saying, well, I want to help small businesses? What about your history has taken you to that point and given you that passion?
Life's experiences and life events, Liam. 7 years ago, and I speak about this very openly, I had 7 or 8 years ago, I had a major health scare. And, you know, Fortunately, I came through, but there's lots of people who don't. That sent me into a real mental health spiral for a couple of years. And, you know, mental health awareness is something that is such in the news, you know, with Biles at the Olympics just pulling out for a mental health. So many people don't talk about it. I do openly because everybody in life goes through the challenges and the depressions and stuff like that. After I managed to come through mine, I volunteered for the Samaritans for 2.5 years because I wanted to give something back. It's the most humbling experience of my life.
I bet.
Listening to people, listening to the challenges they've had, being there as a supportive listening ear. And it actually gave me a completely different perspective on life in terms of how these people are coping. And it's like the things I should be grateful for and what could I do to help. So as part of when I set up Trinity U, we, you know, part of my corporate social responsibility program is to support Samaritans. So we give a percentage of the revenue, even though I'm a small business, to Samaritans to help people through if they need something. And that's just the driving passion now is, I call it the 3 F's of failure for small business owners. You know, the family, the finances, and what are they going to do with the future? You know, and business life is not without its ups and downs, and I've had my fair share. And when you've been through the crap, when you come out the other end and you understand what it can do, to share that and make people aware and to benefit from the knowledge that you've got is just where the driving passion comes from. Which is all well and good but I'm not a charity, you know, but it's making something, because I think, again, every small business owner that sets up could benefit from mentoring, coaching, but for a lot of people, it's not affordable. They don't know where to go. And I think one of the biggest challenges is how people learn. You know, I'm working with clients at the moment who, by their own admission, are numerically dyslexic. They had a real bad experience at school. The teacher told them they were absolutely rubbish, couldn't do anything with numbers. So they've avoided numbers all their life.
Yeah.
Then they set up a business. That's a challenge. How do you know how well your business is doing if you don't know your numbers?
Absolutely right.
So it's finding a way that you can paint a picture for them, because that's how they learn, and get them to understand what their numbers are showing them, because they're more visual in how they learn. So there is never a one-size-fits-all strategy, because we're all different. We're all individuals.
Yeah.
So how does coaches who have systems put that in place for individuals? And I think that's one of the challenges of small business owners. And also, I want to throw in here the male ego of not wanting to ask for help and support, because he said the published author, and you know, we'll talk about the book, but I can say this because I'm a bloke. I don't read instruction manuals. I'm always left at the end with 4 screws going, I know they should go somewhere, but I'm going to read the instruction manual and it'll do. It's all right. It won't fall down.
Yeah.
We don't really have the same emotional intelligence to ask for support than, say, a lot of ladies in business do. That's a challenge for a lot of blokes, is they see asking for support as weakness. When to me, it's actually a strength.
But yeah, and I think there'll be a lot, myself and a lot of people watching that will echo them sentiments, and that's a sort of a brilliant segue to my next point, because the book that you've written is, you know, you could have written a book about a lot of subjects. I mean, 20 plus years in business, as you said, being surrounded by, I think you said 100 and odd females in M&S and doing piecework, and you got a huge life experience so far. So why this topic then? It needs highlighting, of course, and it's a hugely important topic. But why this topic over any others?
Yeah, well, last year during lockdown, I started doing some podcasts, started interviewing people in my network, just to as I was building up my profile and social media. I thought, that's really good. I knew lots of people, and did about 30, 40 podcasts last year, wide variety of business owners. And I was sat down with Clayne Wood, who co-wrote the book with me, and we were going through the podcasts. And as we were just chatting through the content, the idea formed when we were saying, well, the strongest podcasts were all about these women that I interviewed, and their journeys and their stories were so powerful. You know, blokes just tended to talk about the business, where the women talk about their experiences in getting there, the challenges that they had to overcome, how much harder it was for people to set up because of being wives and mothers and taxi drivers, and, you know, for their families and everything else around the issues. And it was just fascinating when we reflected back that it just shone through. So, you know, I'd done the podcast. Clayne then, as a real expert, he's a real, you know, magician with words, managed to put the podcast into the chapters, and then we can make some comments about them. Because again, it's a resource there I've got for life to be able to use, because it goes beyond women in business. It applies to everybody. All the lessons that can be learnt. But Yeah, I was just going to say, but again, it's how many blokes would actually read that and go, "Oh yeah, I relate to that." Women would tend to, I think, more than blokes. But I think hopefully it's something that we can use and use to educate not just new business owners, but maybe put it further down the education line into sixth form schools and stuff like that. So there's lots of other ideas we've got for that material.
You say at the start of the book, in the prologue, that one day your book will be a history book rather than something that's a current and be reaching for advice. How far do you think we are down that path for your book being a history book? As in it not being an issue, and what are the things in the way right now stopping females from being having that equality with men in the business world?
I think within the small business environment, we both come from areas got strong networking. We look at all the strong women that we're surrounded with. So I think within the small business environment, I think there is there already. In terms of women can set up they have those networks and they have that support out there as individuals. I think within the corporate environment, we're still many years, if not decades, away from that, just because of the institutionalized power of the middle-aged white men who don't want anything to change. So it's like turkeys for Christmas. Why would they vote to change anything when it's in their interests to stay in power and have the control and the money that they want, and egos and all stuff like that. So, but as we were saying, 99.9% of small businesses in the UK, I think that is already shifted. I'm surrounded by all the chapters I have come in contact with in BNI, surrounded by business women who are really good and building these businesses and being role models.
Brilliant. I mean, and that's actually quite a nice lead in, and one of the points that I'd want to make about, and this is a chat about networking as well, and we've kind of left ourselves like 8-9 minutes to cover it. But what we have seen, or what I've seen over the past 16 months, is while we networked virtually almost, we haven't been in person. For people who don't know, we have used this system called Zoom, and it's been productive for our members who we support. But what we have seen is a shift in the demographics of our members, in that it has opened it up to a wider demographic, and actually the swing towards females wanting to network has been seismic, because it's more flexible. You can do it from home. You can do it during the day now. You don't have that fear of walking into or you still do, I'm sure, but not as much of the fear of walking into a room filled with middle-aged white men in grey suits, grey hair, grey tie. And I think actually what the last 16 months has shown us is that we've advanced significantly in the women being available to be able to network more. So you've seen that in your chapters where you are in your area.
Yeah, I think absolutely. And I'll go wider than that. I think Zoom and we've shifted on. The networking conversation in probably a decade in about 16 months. It was always heading that way, but suddenly we hit the accelerator. And the fact of being able not just to network locally, but across chapters. So, I work closely with, 5 members from different chapters all over that I probably wouldn't have done if it hadn't been for Zoom. I visited some networking groups in America early on in lockdown, just as an experience. My last one-to-one was with somebody from Horsham who was in a BNI chapter down there, which came from another. So many opportunities to network have been facilitated by Zoom. One of my clients holds national conferences on a regular basis by Zoom. So again, we are now connecting people up and down the country that would never have met before because it was just regional meetings in physical locations. So Zoom has just opened up everything in terms of networking, which is great. And as you said, it's made it so much more accessible and the flexibility that you've got. That what is it? It's 1:20. I'm sat in a conservatory, Mosley. You're sat in your house up in Lancashire, and we're having this conversation. It's being broadcast all over the place.
Incredible.
So that accessibility has got to be great news for those people now who previously couldn't get into the networking environment because of the restrictions they had through life.
Brilliant. So let's last 5 minutes. Let's just talk about a little bit about the networking element. Lockdown came March last year. We've gone through that period of online, and it's been great. And we've just talked about the benefits of it. But surely you're looking forward to getting back and having a brew with somebody face to face and chewing the fat that way.
You can't beat face-to-face meetings. To me, business is all about the R word. It's all about relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And whilst it's great, you can see this much on Zoom, you just can't get the same energy. Or, one of my clients, we have regular monthly meetings, and the energy you get from that room when the 4 people in and the tangential conversations that go off that are sparked by comments made, you just don't get that on Zoom. But I think, where we've swung completely, one way with Zoom, and it'll find a middle ground whereby Zoom gives you so much more flexibility. I no longer drive 25,000 miles a year.
Yeah.
So you have that flexibility, you have that time saving, but you still need to be able to have a brew, have a chat, because networking is all about building those relationships and learning about the person opposite you. And that to me will always be why you need the one-to-one, face-to-face, having a brew in Starbucks or Costa or whatever.
Or an independent coffee shop, of course.
The coffee brands that are available. Support your local high street, of course.
Let's then finish off with a kind of a shout out to Renaissance, and maybe we can, whilst we're in that, highlight the seats that are currently available within Renaissance, if you can bring them to mind. That if you're watching this and you're in a profession and you think, actually, I like this kind of networking idea. I want to build my business by relationships, as we've been talking about today. What are them categories, what are them professions, Adam, that may benefit from visiting Renaissance?
Health and well-being. When we started and we were talking about mental health and well-being, and I think, we have one lady in the health and well-being category, and that's it. So anything around health and well-being, because again, you've got a bunch of people that could probably benefit from having that. And I also know from previous incumbents and previous chapters how well the health and well-being businesses can do. I think especially as they come back from the pandemic, as they come back from the inability to see one-to-ones, and it's now there. Anybody health and well-being, Oldham Renaissance, we'd gladly, we should be back to face-to-face meetings very soon. We gladly welcome you with a cup of tea or coffee.
Brilliant. Last question then, where can people go to find more about, firstly, your wonderful business, what you do, and also where can they go to access the book?
Okay, we'll do the book. The book is available via Amazon. You can order a hard copy, download it onto Audible. So just go onto Amazon, Women in Business, Adam Davison, Culane Wood. You'll find it. With regards to my business, trinityu.co.uk. That'll tell you everything about the business. Version 2 of the website's coming soon. So that's it. They can drop me a line, adam@trinityu.co.uk, if they want any more information from myself.
Love it. Thank you so much. I know you're a busy chap. Thanks for 20. And honestly, I've got a list of questions, and it's never long enough. 25 minutes. And I genuinely am hoping that in the future we can do this again, if that's all right, Adam. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, Liam. Thank you very much for having me on. Look forward to it.
Thank you. Brilliant. I'm just going to finish with if you are in business, you've started up or you've been in a while and you're thinking, where's my next client coming from? I want to build my business. Of course you do. You want to be successful. Where do you go? Well, if you think that relationships are a great way of doing that, as we believe, then please just put your name below, scan the QR code on the top and someone will be in touch. We'll get you to a chapter, to a meeting that is very, very close to you. Have a wonderful afternoon. We're going to finish with a member testimonial. Adam, have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Liam. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Hi, my name is Matt Jones from Kudos Exhibitions, and I'm pleased to share with you, our BNI community, our success story. BNI works. It's as simple as that. This certainly wasn't my view a few months ago, but let's have a look at this now and see what's changed. We are a stand builder. We would design, manufacture and install exhibition stands all around the UK and all around Europe. In February, this abruptly came to a halt. It was a massive shock. We went from turning over 6 figures per month to 0 overnight. We weren't sure whether we could survive this or not. We were one of the first industries to be hit by this pandemic, and we will probably be one of the last ones to recover. I've got a massive amount out of BNI over the year. I have built up a lot of great relationships, had some great evenings away on social events, but commercially this just didn't stack up. There was no way that I could stand in front of people every week and ask for referrals for something which didn't exist. After angling the screen on my computer to the best part of my house, sitting there in my shirt and my shorts and doing these Zoom meetings, I wondered, what on earth am I doing this for? Surely it's more productive to do work on the house, be out in the garden. After 2 weeks of sat at home, we soon got bored. We had to do something. We didn't want to waste the last 15 years of business and watch that dwindle away to nothing. We had the machinery, the skilled workforce, the drive to make something happen. We'd seen screens in supermarkets, in lots of different scenarios, and we had to come up with a solution what could keep the business ticking over, but also help the country. We set to work prototyping. We used offcuts of materials that we had around the factory. We spent weeks and weeks developing things to make sure that we could come up with a robust solution which would work as a physical product, but also a psychological product for the client. One of our main concerns was, how do we market this? We don't want people to think that we're an exhibition company just having a go at manufacturing screens. These were materials that we're used to dealing with. So we contacted someone within the group at BNI. We had a website built, we had some branding for the screens manufactured. All of this was done within our chapter within BNI. Our BNI family helped us launch this platform. We then went out to other chapters to help us on the SEO. This was to get us to page 1 on Google. Within a couple of days of the referral, we had someone within BNI signed up to us. It's because of all the members in BNI that have helped us get to where we are today. I'm constantly receiving great referrals from people, even the people filming this for me, BNI members. It's fantastic, guys. I would like to take this opportunity to thank not only my chapter, BNI Kudos, but also the wider community. Everyone has come together to help us at this pivotal point, and it's because of you, BNI, that we are where we are today. For those of you that don't know, we are VirusScreen, the UK's leading manufacturer of COVID-19 sneeze screens.